Okay, injury front, nothing really new to report. Greedy's day to day with that shoulder. Like we talked about yesterday, I thought it was a good team win. Played some complimentary ball, finished +3 in the turnover margin, which is really what we're looking to do. So it was good effort, good individual efforts by a bunch of the guys, and we're going to make some corrections today, and then we'll be have to go full speed ahead on to New England. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Coach. The first one will be from Tom Withers.
Thanks, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. After we spoke to you yesterday, we were talking to Miles, and he said the pick 6 was when he really knew that last week was behind you guys. When did you have a great sense that last week was behind you guys?
Yeah, Tom, honestly, throughout the week, we addressed what we had to address, and we moved on. I know each individual maybe felt differently, and Miles sure can have his own feelings about that, but I was solely focused on that game.
There was so much good, but I got to bring up the penalties. Especially you had a couple guys, lining up in the neutral zone. Easy stuff to clean up. What was the issue yesterday?
Yeah, those were disappointing. We are not a disciplined football team right now when it comes to penalties, and we got to get it fixed. We're, I believe, very close to being worse in the league, and that's an undisciplined team. That's what losing looks like. So we have to clean that up because it's going to come back and bite you if we don't.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. The next question will be from Nate Ulrich.
Hey, Kevin, just following up on Greedy, obviously then you guys got some good news if you're calling day to day. So is it the same issue with the shoulder that's just reoccurring, or is it a separate issue?
Yeah, I think it's, I hesitate to say it's the same thing, but it's all connected. So it was acting up, and we'll see how he responds over the next couple of days.
Okay, and then we saw Baker, after taking that sack in the second half, limping around a little bit. Did you guys have him checked out any more today, and any update on him?
No, he's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. Next, we'll go to Mary Kay Cabot.
Yeah, Kevin, can you, just address Baker being able to hit the long ball, which was obviously a great thing, and how that's going to be important moving forward, and how you think you can kind of build on sort of pushing it downfield a little bit more?
Yeah, I think we hit on some opportunities yesterday, Mary Kay. Obviously, the Donovan one was great to start the drive like that. Hit Donovan later on down the boundary. So there will always be opportunities in each game. When the defense presents those opportunities and we can go make a play downfield, we will. And then the quarterback has to continue to be smart when those things aren't there, to check it down underneath and get yards that way. But that's always going to be a focus of ours, trying to find those plays week to week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Scott Petrick, will go to you.
Hey, Kevin, I think it was Tim Hasselbeck on ESPN last night when I was watching, said that might have been the best secondary performance he's seen this season. How good did you think your secondary played?
Yeah, they were really good, Scott. And I just thought, obviously, Denzel's play is, that's a game changer to go 99 when it looks like they're about to score. But I think throughout the game, you really saw our guys making plays on the ball. Those contested catches. I even think back to their first third down that they got a conversion. Troy Hill is right there. He slipped coming out of his break, but he still contested the catch, and their player made a great play. But for our guys to be sticky in coverage, and then when the ball's in the air to go make a play on the ball, I think that was just great to see. I think it was great to have Greg and Denzel out there together. AJ Green got in there, was productive. Obviously, Greedy was in there just for a minute before getting injured. So that's the corners. Then think about the safeties. I mean, John Johnson just doing a great job getting the ball out, putting his helmet on the ball, and then Denzel getting a PBU that pops into JJ's hands. So I did think it was a great performance by that group.
And I know there's so much focus on Chase, but I mean, Boyd's a big guy for them, and he played a bunch, but didn't really have any kind of impact. What was the key to slowing him down, stopping him?
Yeah, I think each one of those guys had him at different points in the game. He's a great player, going to be a great player for a long time. He's fast, he's quick, but the guys were determined to deny him the ball.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Dale Ryder, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, after the game, Baker talked about just how guys, especially him, is ultra focused and plays really well with their backs against the wall. Did you feel that yesterday, that with everything that had transpired in the last 7 days, that and where you were in the season needing a win, you yourself said that you were desperate to get a win. Did you just kind of feel like they fed off that backs against the wall mentality?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this entire season our backs are going to be against the wall. That's nothing new. That's where we are in the AFC. It's a great division. It's a great conference. So I feel that way every week.
And then I wanted to ask you specifically about Troy Hill and the day that he had with the couple of sacks. He hit the quarterback multiple times as well. Just was that the best you've seen out of him to date?
Yeah, I think it probably was. I think Troy does a really nice job. I mentioned it yesterday. He's really good in his run fits. I think he's a good blitzer, plays sticky in coverage. He's very, very competitive, very, very tough. I enjoy being around him. I think his teammates enjoy being around him. He just brings an edge to that group.
Thank you, Daryl. Tony Grossi has our next question.
All right, sorry. Kevin, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
I got you.
I wanted to go back, another question on the secondary. It just seemed like Joe Woods played them more aggressively. They were more physical. They pressed. And they're, pretty high draft picks you got back there. Will we see more of that, or was that game specific? It seems like the passivity was gone in this game.
Yeah, I think that's how we want to play, Tony. Obviously, game to game, you have certain adjustments and certain coverages that you're going to play a little bit more of. But we want to be aggressive, really, in our zone coverage. We want to be aggressive in our man coverage. So when the guys have one-on-one opportunities, we want them to deny their man the ball. That's the simple way of putting it. We want our guy to take their guy out of the play. So I think you saw that, but to say that was different than this season, I think our guys understand that they have to play aggressive. You have to, when the time calls for it, when the defense calls for it, you have to go deny your man the ball.
And a question about, you've talked a lot in the past about getting a lead and how that helps you obviously manage the game. This week you got a lead on defense, and it kind of changed everything, it seemed. Can you speak as to what getting a lead also means to your pass rush and defense, not just your offense?
Yeah, I think it's a good point, Tony, because when you do get that lead, the defense gets put in a passing game where our front four can turn into rushers. We can play aggressive in the secondary, like we talked earlier. So I think it's obvious. I think every team likely goes into it wanting to get that lead quickly. And sometimes the games play out differently, but anytime we can be aggressive on offense and defense early, get points, and then try and go win the game via suffocating defense and an offense that continues to put points on the board.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Marla Ridenour, will go to you.
Yeah, Kevin, just wondering about DPJ. When you looked back at the game, I mean, is there something that stood out about his growth this season, or, since training camp began?
No, I think Marley, it was unfortunate he was out there for a minute with the injury, but having him back out there, like we talked about yesterday, I think he makes plays. And I do think when he came to training camp, I do think a bunch of us thought that he was in great shape, thought, he looked 1 year better, 1 year, growth in his body. But he's a player that we're going to be counting on. And he's continued to make plays when called upon.
Still no issues from that hit he took yesterday?
Correct.
Okay, just checking. Thank you.
Thank you, Marla. Fred Greetham, you're up.
Hey, Coach, I was wondering if you have an update on Jeremiah or Kareem, if they might practice this week. And second of all, would you assess that was the most complete game, complementary football you've had thus far this year? I know you had mistakes, but it seemed like both sides were coming through.
Yeah, I don't really have an update on those two guys. We'll see when Wednesday comes around. I'm sure I can update you better then. Yeah, complimentary ball is a big deal. You know, that's one of the disappointments from yesterday is getting 2 turnovers and turning those into 6 points, settling for field goals. That's not good enough, and that's something that we need to do better. And that's where, you know, we're going to be counting on our defense to get those takeaways week in and week out. And when they do, we got to convert them into 7s.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fred. Matt Fontana's next.
Yeah, Kevin, when the offense was, sputtering a little bit, you always took it on yourself. You said, I need to be better at play calling. I need to be better. Well, bit of an offensive explosion yesterday. Did you feel like you were better at calling plays yesterday?
No, I think the guys executed. I thought they did a nice job. We got 7 points from the defense. So I thought the guys understood the plan, and, those guys did a nice job.
And then on so many of Nick's runs, it's pretty clear because Teller or Batoni are out front, and obviously pulling guards are a big part. Just talk about how important that is to the offense and having 2 guys that are pretty good at it.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty rare to have 2 guys that can do that and can be put in space and still be physical players. I thought Wyatt was very, very physical yesterday, finishing with guys on the ground. Joel was his typical self as well. But those guys, they did a real nice job. The whole offensive line did a really nice job. Obviously, Nick makes some great plays because he's a great player. But those guys, I thought, were playing very well together up front.
Thanks, Matt. We'll go to Anthony Poisal.
Hey, Kevin, you highlighted a few of these guys already, but how impressed have you been with just the depth in your cornerback room through the first half of the year? And how much did yesterday really kind of emphasize the talent and depth you have there?
Yeah, Anthony, that's something we talk about. And, I used to hear it from Coach Zimmer all the time. You can never have enough corners. And that's something that I'm sure every team believes because, when you get injuries, you need guys to step up. So we've seen that over the course of the last few weeks. And then when you are fortunate enough to have your guys healthy, as we did for a bit of time yesterday, I think it goes to show that, you got a lot of really productive work from that group.
And with Greg Newsome in particular, just how visible has his growth been from week 1 until now?
Yeah, I think, all these rookies, I really believe you see that maturation occur over the course of the season. And Greg's one of those guys that, does not oftentimes make the same mistake twice. There's things that he has to clean up. I can promise you the coaches are discussing those things with him, and he wants to get better. But his speed shows up, his length shows up. He's very, very competitive. So he's progressing.
Thanks.
Thanks, Anthony. Jeff Shadell, you have our next question.
Hey, Kevin, it seemed like, obviously the Odell thing was a base for your focus in that game. So how difficult will it be to maintain that laser focus for the Patriots and going forward?
Yeah, I think that's what we do, Jeff, is we put the blinders on week to week. So we'll put the Bengals game to bed today as we look at it with the team and look at the things that we can correct. And then you put the blinders on and you have to do everything in your power to get ready to play a really good Patriots team at their place.
Thanks, Jeff. PJ Ziegler, you're up.
Thanks, Rob. Kevin, the last 2 weeks, your defense has given up 16 and 15 points. What's been the difference the last 2 weeks, especially in divisional games, than maybe we saw the first whatever it was, 6 games of the season?
Yeah, I don't know PJ specifically over the last 2 weeks. I just think yesterday, I believe they gave up 99 yards in the second half yesterday, which is, that's a great job by the players and coaches understanding some adjustments that we had to make and the players ultimately executing. But I think it's just week to week, PJ. These schemes are different, and there's sometimes great playmakers on the perimeter. Sometimes it's an inside out game. So just being able to execute the game plan that's called for that week is vital.
Thanks, PJ. Back to Mary Kay Cabot.
Yeah, Kim, when you look at the passing game and you're talking about, getting the 3s instead of the 6s after the takeaways, it still seems like, just a lot of guys haven't really kind of gotten involved the way that you probably want them to so far this season. Jarvis comes to mind, and I know he's fresh off an injury, but Hooper, Jarvis, Anthony Schwartz is just kind of going to be getting some more reps. My question then is, do you see a ton of room for improvement in your passing game, considering that a lot of these guys, haven't really even gotten involved much yet?
Yeah, I think we do have room to grow, Mary Kay, certainly as a team, specifically to your question as an offense. I do think we have room to grow. We're just going to try and do whatever scores points, whatever scores us one more point than the other team is what we're going to try to do. Sometimes that's going to be, relying on the pass game. Sometimes it's going to be relying on the run game. When those opportunities present themselves in either case, we got to make the most of them.
And how do you feel about Anthony Schwartz coming along? And now he's probably going to get some of those Odell sort of, deep ball reps. And is he ready for all that?
Yeah, I think he's proven that this season to certainly me and the coaches that he can handle it mentally. I think he can handle it physically. And that's just a matter of the opportunities and making the most of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Nate Ulrich, you're up.
Kevin, now that you guys did place Jack Conklin on IR, do you have any more of a clear timetable in mind for him?
I don't. I know it's 3 weeks with IR, but I think he's progressing just as we think he should.
And obviously now we've seen a good amount of Blake Hance, but how did he play yesterday in place of Jack? And how do you feel about knowing that, like you said, for at least the next couple of games here, he's going to be your starting right tackle?
Yeah, I thought he did a nice job. Again, those guys play as a unit. Those 5 guys played well together, did a nice job in the run game. The 2 sacks, I thought the first one was really, put it on their coverage. I think the second one put it on me. Wasn't a great play call. So I thought the pass protection was really good.
Thanks, Nate. Let's try to get 3 more quick ones in. Ashley Bastock, Tony Grossi, Scott Patrick. Ashley, you're up.
Hey, Kevin, with Donovan, to go back to him, I know in the past he was a guy in high school and college that was typically the top option at receiver on those teams he was on. And I know he hasn't had that same role here. So I guess just how has he adapted in that regard, and how has he gotten so good at taking advantage of the opportunities that he is given when he is targeted?
Yeah, I think he's actually, that's kind of been him with us from day one. I think back to last year, just having early getting him in there on certain personnel groupings, and he just was so dependable in terms of knowing what to do, which is difficult for a young receiver. It's not easy. So I think he gained our trust very early. And then, like we've talked about, the ball, when it finds its way to him, he makes a play on the ball. It's really, and you can go back to the Cincinnati game last year, where I believe it was his first NFL reception. Was in that game, I think thrown by Jarvis Landry, if I'm not mistaken. But then he caught the big one, a couple big ones on the 2-minute drive at the end. So he's just done a nice job when called upon.
Thank you, Ashley. Back to Tony Grossi.
Okay, the 2 real quickies. First one, Landry, what's up with him? Is he still hurting with the knee?
I'll ask him what's up with him, but I think he's doing okay, Tony. He's fighting through it. He's battling.
And the other question is, when Bill Belichick was named coach of the Browns, you were 9 years old. I wondered what kind of professional relationship you might have with him, and just your comment about his career.
I've not had the opportunity to meet Coach Belichick yet. It's the first time facing off against him. Obviously, he has my utmost respect. Chad O'Shea, who's on our staff here, worked with Coach Belichick for a long time there in New England. So Chad, just the things he's learned from him and shared with me over his time there. The guy's, he's, as we all know, there's probably not superlatives from me necessary, but we got to go make sure we're prepared, because we know it's a well-coached team. They play sound ball, and we got to make sure that we're at our best Sunday up there.
Thank you, Tony. We'll close with Coach Scott Patrick.
Kevin, I got a quick injury and then a question. Tack, is it the same groin injury that bothered him last year and caused him to miss most of it?
Oh, going back to last year, I'm not sure.
Okay. But is he still kind of considered day-to-day, week-to-week kind of thing?
Day-to-day.
Okay. And when you only have, 48 snaps on offense, I know, the pick six takes him away and the short drives, but is that challenging as a play caller, or as an offense, just kind of to find a rhythm or to figure out what you're doing with limited snaps?
No, No, it's not. You got to make the most of your opportunities, however they come. I think the guys did a nice job early, scoring some touchdowns early, which was great to extend the lead. Late in the game, I think 3 drives there in the fourth quarter where it was a 3-score game, and we're trying to be smart with the ball. There's not going to be a ton of opportunities in those moments, but prior to that, when the game's in the balance, you just have to make every play count.